If you buy and sell vehicles for a profit or you want to, you're in the right place. This is the Flipping Genius podcast. Our number one goal is to help our listeners make more money. Every episode, we share information, ideas, and experiences of real-life car flippers. I'm Randy Lee. I'm the host of Flipping Genius. I've flipped cars most of my life. For over a dozen years now, I've been a licensed dealer. I am working to build the best podcast about successfully flipping cars for a consistent profit. Let's get to it, flippers. I was just talking to a friend of mine, Bruce Olinger. Bruce is an old buddy of mine from back in my days working in the Yellow Pages. I don't know if I ever talked about that, but I used to sell some Yellow Page advertising. And Bruce did too, and he invited me to an event today. Bruce is in advertising and marketing forever. He's been in it forever, and he invited me to a networking event. And it was interesting because I hadn't been to something like that in quite a while. But it's kind of my thing. It's kind of my, everybody's good at something. That's probably what I'm good at. I was talking about what I'm not good at. I'm not good at repairing cars. I don't like to clean cars. There's all kind of things I'm not good at, but you got to find the thing that you are good at. And what I am good at is communication, and that's thus a podcast. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at delivering a message to people that in my case allows me, as we were talking about Flipping Genius, allows me to purchase vehicles at a reasonable price and allows me to sell them at a reasonable price with a profit in between, which is the goal, right? Our goal is to buy and sell cars at a consistent, substantial profit. And we all have certain skills, and I've talked about it before. Concentrate on what you're good at, what you enjoy. And what I enjoy, what I'm good at, is talking. And so back to my buddy Bruce, invited me to go to a BNI meeting. A lot of you have probably heard of that. Business Network International, I think. It's networking with other business owners, and I've always enjoyed that. I've been to a lot of those meetings, been a member of them, but I hadn't been one in a while, and it was kind of fun. And then tonight, as I was getting ready to record this, Bruce gave me a call, and we were just talking. And I told him I got to get on here and talk to you guys. You people are listening to me, and we were talking about it. And it made me think, because I was trying to think of how I was going to convey this to you. And by the way, this is Flipping Genius podcast, and I'm Randy Lee, the host. Great to see everybody, and I say see because I am recording this on audio and video. So if you're listening to the audio, fantastic. If you'd like to see the video of our podcast, you can also go to the Flipping Genius YouTube channel, and most of our most current episodes are also on video. Plus, you'll find a lot of other videos on there. So back to this networking concept. I thought this might be kind of fun because I do some name dropping. I wonder if I can show you this. So I went to this meeting with Bruce, and unfortunately, I can't show you a business card. Can't show you a business card if you're listening on the podcast, but I can if you're on the video. So here's a card, for instance. Just pull this one off the top. Ricky Phillips. Ricky is a insurance agent here in North Alabama, and he has a company called Goosehead Insurance. Now, Ricky's one of the guys I met this morning, and he is actually somebody. He said, "Give me your card," because I, of course, had my cards, lots of cards. My cards. One of the cards said RandyBuysCars.com, which of course is my website. And I talked about that I'm looking for cars to buy. I want to buy cars. I want to buy cars. I say this a lot. I say this a lot to a lot of people. I remember I said it to Ricky, and he asked me for a card. I'm hoping that Ricky's going to call me and tell me about a car, either his car or a neighbor's car. But I got a point for this. Here's another one. Darren Sanders. Darren was a guy sitting right next to me. Darren sells advertising and or I think high-speed internet with Comcast. these are folks who are local people. I'm not really trying to do advertisements for them. There's a home inspector, Michael Aiken, sounds like a nice guy. Young lady by the name of Emily Galloway, who says she's been with Woodman Life for, I think she said 10 plus years. I swear to God, she looked like she could have been older than 25. So I don't know how old they hire them up there, but uh, Wesley Mims, uh, lots of fun talking to him. They do. I think Wes was the guy with the big beard, but I gotta had him mixed up. He does new construction. Anyway, I sat there and I can't go through every single person. I talked to a bunch of folks and I got their business cards and they got my business card. And it was just this morning. It went from about 8:30, 8:15 until 10 o'clock. It's a little longer than I thought. And Bruce had called me and kind of tricked me into coming because I thought we were just going to have breakfast together. But I was really glad that we did because, you know, we've talked about how do you find cars. Now, today was actually supposed to be a car auction day, but when Bruce offered me a chance to have breakfast, I thought we were having breakfast, Bruce. We didn't. Uh, I thought, well, I'll take the day off of the car auction and go up here. So glad I did because I made contact with about, I think, around 20 new faces, new folks, new businesses. And I got a chance to tell my story one-on-one and also in a group. My story being partly Flipping Genius, of course, but also about Middleman Enterprises, my company, my car lot. I buy cars, and I got a chance to look for those opportunities that we're looking for. Your opportunities, you may be looking for something different than me. I'm looking for, like I told them, I sell cheap cars to people so they can get to work. That's what I do. You may look for awesome 1950s model Chevrolets so you can reconstruct them and resell them. But in the end, what we're all trying to do is buy and flip cars for a substantial and consistent profit. Hey, that's what we're trying to do. Number one goal of Flipping Genius is to help our listeners make more money. And one of the ways we can make more money is by networking. Networking with people who have nothing to do with the car flipping business, or do they? Think about it, folks. Everybody, we all drive cars. Here in America, anyway, we all drive cars. Our neighbors all drive cars. Our family all drives cars. We're always buying cars. That's why cars is such a great thing. We're getting into a state right now, as of today, the 7th of June, 2022. We're seeing inflation here in America. We're seeing fuel prices go up. We're seeing a rise in the interest rates. And it's going to mess up this house market that's been on fire, I think. But you know what's going to be there? Cars. At least for the foreseeable future, people are going to need a car so they can go to work, so they can go to their business, so they can go visit their family. That car may look different. Maybe they are going to go to electric. I don't know. Right now, people are really getting excited about something that gets good gas mileage because gas prices as of this date are getting near $5 a gallon all across the United States. But cars can still be flipped and made money. And I don't see that being different 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And I think you could flip houses and make money too, but cars are just easier and it's easier to talk about. So at the meeting today, one of the cards that I gave out the most was this one, the Randy Buys Cars card. I must have gave up 25 of those out to everybody I could. And before I left there, I had a car. I had a car that I could buy. It should sell for $5,000. I'm trying to buy it for $3,500, and I want to just put it on my lot consignment and not have any out of pocket. So I haven't worked that out yet, but I think I'll probably land it at $3,750 on consignment at my lot. I make the balance. They get the $3,750 when it sells. I get $1,250 if it sells for $5,000, and it should easily sell for $5,000 with almost no cleanup. A quick vacuum, this thing looked good. And it's because I was telling my story to a group in this case, of 20 or so business professionals. So one thing I wanted to say is plain and simple. If you get an opportunity to go to one of these meetings, BNI is a big group that's all over the country, or I just heard of another one I'm going to next week. I can't think of the name of it. Send me an email to flippingquestions@gmail.com and say, hey, Randy, if you remember the name of that new networking group, send it to me because I want to see if there's one in my neck of the woods. And I will. Flippingquestions@gmail.com. I'll answer you back. But if you hear of a networking group, if you hear of a barter group like you've heard me talk about, any situation, real estate investor groups, REI, that's something you might check into. You may be going there for the right reason or the wrong reason, but the fact is, the more people you get in front of, and the more people you tell about your story. My story, I sell cheap cars to people so they can go to work, and I buy cars, and I just tell them, hey, if you've got a car sitting there you don't want anymore, call me. I'll buy it. If you see the neighbor's got a car in their front yard that you're tired of looking at, it's got flat tires, it's got grass growing up around it, have them call me. I buy cars. I need cars. And this is, we make our money when we buy it, right? And that's long been one of my most successful techniques in business in general, is getting in front of people and telling my story. And one of the awesome things, and thanks so much, Bruce. I don't know if you're listening to this or not. I hope you do. Thanks for introducing me to everybody and giving me a chance to tell my story there. I hope I get to come back a few times, or possibly join one of the other groups. Unfortunately, Bruce's group meets at the same time that I'm supposed to be standing in the lane at the dealer auction, and I can't pass that up. But I do plan on trying to establish a relationship with all 20 of those people I met today. I already did one step. I sent a referral to one of the folks already, and I'm going to look for ways to refer more business to them, because the slogan for BNI is "Givers Gain," and that's a pretty good slogan, because the fact is, the more you help other people, the more they're going to help you. So I'm talking about just general networking. Look for opportunities to network, but then let's talk about specific networking, because that's another whole different angle. And what I mean by that is, here's a quick sample. If I tomorrow, let's say tomorrow was auction day, and I was going to jump in my truck and head to the dealer auction. In my case, I think it's about 7 or 8 miles from my house. On the way there, I will pass. I think I'm thinking out loud. I think there's 6 car dealers like me, the small car dealers, that I'm going to pass on between here and there. There are 2. I can think of 4 mechanic shops, 1 transmission shop, 2 body shops, and another specialty shop just on the way there. I'm just picturing them in my head. These are all places that can be very specific networking opportunities for me, and I'm guilty. I haven't called on at least half of those. I haven't stopped at least half of those, and pretty much all of them I haven't stopped at any more than 2 of them in the last month. A couple of them I've been to. But why would you go there? You'd go there to say, I buy cars. I buy cars. That's what I'm looking for. I buy cheap cars. I sell cheap cars to people so they can go to work. Everybody doesn't do that. Everybody doesn't want that 1999 Toyota Camry that's been sitting out there with a flat tire on their lot, and they don't want to mess with it. I'll mess with it. That could be a good one for me. And they don't know it unless you stop in there and tell your story. Now that's my story. Your story is different than mine. Don't copy my story unless that's what you want to do. Just figure out your story and go tell it. Go tell it. Go tell it. Don't stop and think too much. Get out there and tell your story. And you're going to find more opportunities to buy, you're going to find more opportunities to sell. This is pretty good because it is a really, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but this is just simple, simple stuff. Use your post-it notes. I just held up a post-it note for those of you who are listening. I do that a lot. Hey, I think it's getting a little late in the evening on recording night. I usually try to get this done earlier in the day, but thanks to Bruce, he had me out talking to people this morning, and that kind of threw me off and even messed up my golf game. But it was all okay. So if you're not doing it already, start networking. If you are doing it, look for more opportunities. If you're doing networking, think about doing specific networking. If you're doing specific networking, think about doing more general networking. Get out and talk to people, increase your sphere of influence, and you're going to increase your opportunity for income. Hey, you write that down. I just made that up. It's really true. It's something that, I mean, frankly, my little brother Matt has built his business around this type of thing in Toledo, Ohio. He is such a fantastic networker and such a fantastic businessman that he has built his business around that. And I met a gentleman today who's in a similar business to my brother's, a small construction company, who said that pretty much all of his advertising comes directly from networking like BNI. That's where he doesn't have to spend money on any place else. And that's the direction that you want to take this, because it gives you an opportunity to control the growth of your business. And that's what you're talking about, folks. A lot of times I think a lot of you guys might think, well, Randy, you're talking about being a car dealer. Randy, you're talking about business. You're in business, folks. I know a lot of you are just getting started flipping cars. Maybe you're only going to flip one car this year. Maybe you've never flipped a car. Maybe you're still thinking about flipping a car. Maybe you flip 3 or 4 cars a year, but you are in business. You're in business. The sooner you accept that and think of it as a business person, the faster and better you're going to grow. And one of the things you want to do to grow is network with other business owners and other professionals. And I encourage you to do that. Hey, we're going to talk more about this on the Car Flipping Forum soon. We're going to do a live on this exact subject, because this is one you can tell I'm kind of passionate about. It's a lot of fun, and I think we may be able to network with each other a little bit. Hey, you never know. Somebody in St. Louis may have a buddy in Detroit who needs a vehicle or has a vehicle to sell, and something could come from that way. But definitely we can help each other by sharing our experiences and talking about this type of thing. And so we're gonna be doing one of these as part of what I talked about last week, Flipping Genius University. We are working on curriculum for that. There's going to be a lot more coming up, but I'm talking about one of the free sessions too, by the way. There's going to be a lot of free sessions where we'll interact with you via live streaming, and then we're going to move that on to some one-on-ones and some small groups that will be off of the forum, but I'm talking about lives right there at the Car Flipping Forum. If you're not a member of the Car Flipping Forum, just search Flipping Genius on Facebook groups, and you'll find our Car Flipping Forum. It's free to join. I do ask you to answer just a couple questions so I know that you're legit. And then once you're in, please contribute to the conversation, participate. And I really, really, truly appreciate some of the activity that's going on there. Some of you guys are really getting involved. You're referring some folks. Charles Duvall, I hope I'm saying your name right, Charles. A great fan of the podcast. Thanks for listening, Charles. But also has referred, I think, a dozen people that have joined the forum this week. Really, really cool stuff, because that's exciting. He knows it helps him, and it's helping more people. Charles is, I think, down in Texas and is a mechanic and listens to the podcast religiously, shares it with his friends. Please do that. Please share the podcast with your friends. Please share the Flipping Forum with your friends. If you're in an area where we've got a Flipping Genius sales group, join the sales group. If you'd like to become involved in building the group and in growing the group, let me know, and I'll make you an administrator there. And just ask that you follow the rules, and we do things the Flipping Genius way. So we want to make everything look uniform and not use it for just pure self promotion. But I don't mind you do a little bit of self promotion too, because you're putting in the time. So I think that's we're gonna wrap this thing up so you can get about your day and get out and do some networking. Get out as soon as you turn this thing off. Think of where you can go next to make some of this stuff happen. And I'll tell you what, when you get out and you make this happen, when you get out and you walk in that door, when you get out and you go to a meeting and you tell your story, when you do that, share it with us. Share it with me. Send me a note on flippingquestions@gmail.com, or go to the forum and share it with there. Share it directly with me if you prefer. Tell us about what you did to try to generate more activity using your networking skills. And I would love to hear, especially success stories, of course, but if you're running into struggles, talk about those. Let's talk about them. Let's set them off. It's what I do naturally. It may not be what you do naturally. So you may have questions of how do I do this, or when do I do this, or when do I not do this? Feel free to reach out to me or reach out to anybody on the forum. We're all here to help each other. Hey, that's the whole idea, right? Let's work together. Let's make some money. Let's all become flipping geniuses.